live, y'all. Hey. On a Thursday night, we in here. Listen, we're so excited. We were just doing a little theme song. Y'all wanna? No, we can't do that theme song. Can we? We could. We got. Go ahead. We are living and married, single and married. In the 90s down the world, I'm glad I got my girl. Keep your head up, boy, keep your head up. That's right, never dislike it tough. You gotta fuck where my homegirls stand to my left and my right. Blue, every time like blue. We are living, single and married. Hey y'all, it's Thursday night. Welcome to All Things Women Talk Show. Listen, we're so excited. I can't wait to introduce these amazing and beautiful melanated queens on the show tonight. The purpose for our show tonight is just to talk about some hot topics, y'all. It is a lot going on in the world. And we just wanted to come on tonight to preview season 4, which is coming up soon in October. So thank you for joining us. Listen, as you're coming in, do me a favor and go ahead and share the video. Listen, tonight is all about the ladies. But fellas, we have something for y'all too. We have a very serious conversation that needs to take place. And we're gonna hold on to that for a second. But I'm gonna let the ladies go ahead and introduce themselves and tell you all about their brands and what they have going on, what they do for a living, and all that good stuff. You want to start with me?
I am Deborah Janine, you can call me Deborah J, and I'm a singer, actress, writer, and runner. And I look at them guns.
That is the only way you're running. Go ahead.
And we ran together in college, which is crazy. And I love to create. I'm just by nature a creator, so check me out musically, all that.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yeah.
I am Kori formerly known as Beyonce. I am a police officer, but I also own my own cake company, Kori Kakes. That's KORIKAKES on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. And I also have my own juice company. It's called Ready Juice Bar. And I like long walks on the beach. And I too ran track, but now I can't look at a track.
Hello, I'm Tiffani Berry, and CEO of Life by Expression. So excited to be here. I'm an author of the book Note to Self, Unbecoming to Become. If you're interested, tiffaniberry.com. I'm an artist, visual artist, life coach, and really just someone excited about life. So I'm excited for tonight.
Yes. Listen, we have an amazing panel this evening. And really, we're just going to be having some candid conversations, just doing some girl talk. But if you're just tuning in, my name is Dr. Eboni Bell, and my life's purpose is to help you discover your purpose, pursue your dreams, and live your destiny. This is actually coming up on season 4 of All Things Women Talk Show, so this will be the 21st episode. So I'm so excited. Yeah, it's been a journey, but it's been so amazing. The purpose of me creating the show was to celebrate the masterpiece of woman. We're all in different phases, different stages in our lives, and sometimes you just need to sit down with somebody and just talk that thing through. You're never by yourself and whatever you're going through. So hopefully tonight, our purpose is to just bring you some girl talk about some hot topics, and hopefully we will inspire someone through our conversation. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into the show. We're going to start off tonight with some very, very hot topics. Go ahead, Ms.
So we want to start talking about Girls Trip. I know everybody here has seen it. Yeah. And the movie was very popular, still pretty popular, and it featured 4 female actresses, and they are best friends in college, and they're headed out on a trip together to celebrate their friend's big book release.
Yeah.
I've not seen each other for, 20 years, I think?
Yeah, it had been a while. I think they meet up every now and then, but this was like their big Essence Music Festival, which I still need to get to that.
That's my first time.
I've never been.
Best experience.
Really?
The atmosphere is
so we need to start planning.
A girls trip?
Yeah, a girls trip.
So now these women, they all have their different struggles that they're going through, and it comes to a head when they get on this trip and they face each other after all this time, because there's still some bitterness between 2 of them, and then there are hidden secrets that the other girls don't know about with, what's her name? The character?
Tiffani, Dina?
Oh, right, Ryan.
So Regina Hall's character. I really want to know which characters you ladies most identified with, and then some of the issues you think that stood out in the movie for you.
Well, first of all, I think the thing that stands out to me the most was just their friendships. Friendship is interesting because you have these friendships where you see the person every day or every week, and then you have friendships where you don't see the person for like a year, but when you see them, it's like yesterday, right? So I love those kinds of friendships, and I think that was one of the biggest displays that happened in that movie. Because when they got back together, even though there was some tension and things like that, they were able to still come together, have fun, work some things out, work some issues out, and at the end of the day, they were all in those crazy dinner vests that were crazy. But I would say I honestly related to all of the characters. I'll start off, and I'll just say that I related a lot to Regina. What was her character?
Her name was
Ryan. Ryan. So Ryan was, of course, like this, successful businesswoman who was trying to build her brand. At the same time, she's, trying to keep her image together as far as her marriage. And we'll get into that a little later. But I think for me, it was a wake-up call because what we found out towards the middle of the movie was that her brand wasn't authentic. Like what she was showing people wasn't really what was behind the scenes. And I mean, I think we all kind of have some of that mask that we put on, or I'm just being real. I think that's something that everybody does in some measure. I don't know that anyone is 100% authentic all day long. Because if that was the case, we'd be offending people left and right. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just unrealistic to think that you can be 100 all the time. It's,
Right.
But Tiffany had
it in you right there.
So yeah. So for me, it gave me a self-check. Like, let me check and make sure that what I'm presenting is real, and the things that I need to work on behind the scenes. Let me start working on that stuff because I don't want to be not authentic. I want to be authentic. So yeah.
No, I was having a conversation with a friend earlier today, and I said one of my fears starting out my brand is that my brand would actually supersede me. And then it'd be to a point where I felt like I was locked in my brand and unable to be authentic anymore. Wow. So I feel like that is what was displayed on the movie, and I was like,
the brand ran away with her,
and to the point where she was no longer the brand, but the brand like encapsulated her, and it's like
and controlled her,
and I'm like,
so is that the character you most identified with?
I mean, I have a book. I mean, I'm not quite Oprah yet, so I don't know. But what can I say? No, I think right away, because she seems like, successful, she has this whole image, and I was like, okay, that's cool, but she actually displayed one of my fears, and I'm like, I don't ever want to get to the point where I can't be honest with myself, I can't have fun, I can't let loose, because other people are watching other people's opinions. I'm just like, no, I'm too much of a free spirit for that. I'm like, look, y'all, brand shifting. Yeah, it's too much. So I don't know.
Well, let's talk about Tiffani. Who I don't want to do that. You tell me who you think you.
I think I definitely identify more so with Tiffani.
I was gonna say that.
The fact that she has no filter, because everybody knows me, I have no filter in my mouth. But I also really I think I was more a lot of Regina too, because I think there was a lot. I think it was all three mixed up. The only person I didn't really relate with was Queen Latifah, which was Sasha, because I felt like so the way I related to Tiffani was I liked her personality, I liked her sense of humor, her free spirit. I like Regina Hall's that kind of reminds me of not my relationship because it's not I don't have that type of situation going on, but like you said, having to feel like you have to cover up things or having to feel like you have to display this person to people so they can. I have friends that they kind of they come to me because they don't have all theirs together, their relationship, and I look at them, I'm like, well, I can't sit here and complain to you about my relationship because I don't want to be us going back and forth. So I'm always like, all right, well, you complain to me, but it's I never have a chance.
You never get that outlet.
Have an outlet to explain, complain about my issues and stuff like that. But for what's her name, Jada Pinkett, I feel like I related to her because she was very, very maternal and very scared. I'm not really that adventurous person who's my sister could just go out of town and not have anywhere to stay, just I'm going. You know what I mean? I need to have where we're going, where we're staying. I need to have everything. I need an itinerary for everything. So I just I can really relate to all three of those women. So
yeah, I would say that the character I most related to was Tiffani Haddish, and that's because in this day and time, I am among the majority of women who think it's okay to be super sexual, and I say they display this sexuality as the most prominent character in the movie. Mm-hmm. And I think this was intentional because she said in her Breakfast Club interview that 65%, I believe that's the number, of her improv was used in the final edit. So I'm thinking 65% is a very intentional number to be promoting so much sexuality.
Yeah.
And I say this to say I relate to her and I understand that sexuality, but I also know that they didn't show what happens as a result psychologically, emotionally, spiritually when you are that sexual. So definitely relate to her, but I wish that they would have shown the demographic they were pushing the movie to, the other side of it. Like they would show, you know, in a commercial you're smoking, having fun with your friends, but they're not showing the lung cancer. Or they're showing you drinking out, partying, but they're not showing you get
the other side of it.
Yeah.
Just this pure like entertainment, have fun piece.
Yeah, but I think they kind of talked about when they kind of had the whole like breaking point in the movie. I think they said to Tiffany, Dina, they told her, she was like, you know, you're always out here partying and having sex. And like asked her like, what's next? Like, what do you have? And she kind of paused, like, I really don't know. And like that's very true, especially in this day and age, like with women. Like, and also you have to think like, I think sexuality has been like, it's kind of been branded as something that's just bad. Like, you can be a sexual person and not be a bad person, you know. And I think they've kind of like made people think that, all right, your sexuality, you have to be a lady, you have to be this way, you have to be that way. But man, he can do whatever he wants. You know, he can have sex with 5,000 women, and we're just like, oh, he's just a man, he's supposed to do that. But women, like, you can't do that.
Yeah. I was Debbie and I was talking about this earlier with the whole sexuality movement. We're seeing, especially with millennial women, people are taking that back. Like women are like reclaiming the time, like, you know. I mean, because for how many years, honestly, I mean, I'm speaking as a Christian married woman, but I'm just keeping it real right now. How many times, you know, have we been in relationships in the past where, yeah, a guy could do what he wanted to do, but he expected you to not. Oh, we still here. So we're talking about sexuality, and we're talking about how women are like taking their sexuality back. Not that that is a thing that I'm praising. I'm just making a point that in the past, you know, women are at home in their pajamas and men are out. I think that day has kind of come to an end. And I roam in the streets. I roam in the streets, honey.
Now my husband is at home right now with our kids, making the bed. Making the bed, have a warm bath drawn for them. When I get home.
Roses of the
Different day and age.
I think for so long that women are portrayed as one-sided, as if like, okay, you're sexual, so therefore A, B, and C. But women, black women, we're multidimensional.
Yeah.
So I feel like in this day and age, it's like, okay, yes, I'm doing A, B, and C. Yes, I'm the executive of a company. Yes, I'm with my kids, and I can also be sexual too. And I feel like a lot of times, like, oh, well, if you're over sexualized, then you can't be the businesswoman, or you can't be this. And I'm like, we can be all, and it's okay.
And I think you can be, and I know somebody's going to disagree with this, but I think that you can be okay with your sexuality and not be a hoe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can be okay with all that you have, right?
Yes.
And not. You don't have to feel guilty about that. And that kind of segues us into something very interesting that happens in the show Insecure. So Insecure, of course, Issa Rae, shout out to Issa Rae. She's breaking all kinds of records, producing, writing her own show, and she just has so many accolades right now. But her show is really amazing because it really gives a picture of this millennial woman that we're talking about. And basically her best friend Molly in the show, it's interesting because in real life, she's abstinent. And she's like 35. In fact, I think she's a virgin.
Yep.
Yes, and she's like all over the world, like with this movement. But in the show,
she's like,
she's
has no
hyper
breaks.
sexual.
And the guy in the show she's with, he's actually a virgin.
No way.
So they both I promise you, the one who the tall guy, the one who she actually is like married to the girl, he in real life he's a virgin.
She's in an open relationship with this guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's actually real life, he's a virgin. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, what if they meet each other and get married and be like, oh, this was God's plan for my life?
It
That might happen.
That'd be great.
It's so mysterious.
That would be awesome.
It might
I'm so
happen.
happy for her.
But it's interesting that she plays that character in the show, but in real life, she's like the opposite of that. But what I was going to say is that in the show, Issa Rae breaks up with her boyfriend, long-term relationship, and she's trying to find herself, and the way that she does it is through sexuality. And she goes out and she kind of goes through her, what they call is her whole phase.
Her rotation.
So I don't know, I just think it paints a picture of kind of what women are going through, and trying to find themselves and also finding that balance. What does it look like to love yourself, but not feel like the only way you can be loved is through sex. Like, that's another thing.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And there are many ways to be loved other than
Tell us about those ways.
I'm no expert.
Tell me your ways.
No, I think that we just have to raise our standards because we're taught that sex is our greatest prize, our gift, like our only gift and the only thing we're worth. But I think as Black women, there are so many other things, like our standards in dates. We can go out for dinner and a movie, and that's it. We don't ask the men to be creative. We don't make them work for us. And I think when they don't work, they don't appreciate us as much.
No, they don't. You know what? It was a saying. It was chivalry isn't dead. We just renamed it the thirst. Like when a man tries to court you and he's trying to be chivalrous, instead of a woman appreciating it, now we're like, oh, he's thirsty. Oh, he's pressed.
Okay.
Instead of actually appreciating and like saying like, oh my gosh, like he's trying to open my door. He's calling me. He's trying to like really like. Oh, he's pressed. And I think a lot of people.
Where does that come from? Where did that?
Because we don't know how to take it slow anymore. Because we need to relearn that.
But social media is the reason why. You have to understand. So you get a guy's number. First, he's texting you. You guys are texting. Then he gives you a call. People don't really call on the phone. Remember back in the day, first, you had to be a real pimp. You had to know people's numbers by heart. Because you didn't have, unless you had it written down, you had to know people's numbers. Exactly, a little black book, whatever. Like, they didn't have. Now everything is so easy, such easy access. Instagram, you can send somebody a selfie, you can send them a nude. Like, it's so much stuff, and if you don't do it, he can text someone else. Like, he can text you just as quickly as you can text her and say, can you come over? You say, no, we already sent her a text already to see who's going to say
that's
yes.
so scary.
So that's why,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, but.
That's why I think it's so important for us to put sexuality on the back burner because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Like, you can scroll through Instagram pages, like
Be
you
the
said,
difference.
and it's like everywhere. So it's like, what can you share? What can you give to this man that he can't get somewhere else? And for me, I think that's a level of spirituality and being self-aware and knowing who you are and loving yourself, because that's rare.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we need to invest our time in.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, what?
We
not
just
gonna
have
give it
guys,
right now?
guys are so used to getting everything right away.
Because so many of us, women are doing it.
Yeah. But I think that we as women have to create that change of slowing it down and taking it back to the good old days where you gotta
Work
put
for
it
it.
That's those
They
good
wonder
days.
why
You gotta know your worth.
those marriages lasted so long. It's because those men know they had to put in that extra
Not only
effort.
that, but marriages last long, a long time ago because, like, I remember reading something. I always read stuff. I remember reading something. The guy said they were like, why is it that how have you guys been married for 75 years? And his response was because when we came up, there was no option. Divorce wasn't an option. It was either you work it out or like you don't go anywhere. You work out. Yeah. So nowadays it's so easy to like I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm divorced.
And then there's somebody in your inbox the next hour.
Girl, somebody needs me next hour ago. Like,
Very
somebody said like I think she's about to break.
I know, right? I'm reading these Instagram posts. Oh, so I'm
I'm
gonna slide in.
Put everything on Instagram. Like, have you ever seen somebody on Facebook? They post every 5 minutes like. I can't stand what people do. And you are talking about your husband, you are talking about your boyfriend. Like, it's just
everybody knows.
You put everything on social media. So
And I think another thing is like if when you're dating, it's about timing too. Like the guy has to be ready. So I think whether a woman's absolutely amazing spirituality, sexuality, everything, if the guy's not ready, I think women have to know it's not me. So I don't need to do any more. It's more of him. And if it's not the right time, and then that's fine.
A man would cheat
time to move on.
A man would cheat on the perfect woman if.
I was about to go to Kevin Hart next. Let's go there. Let's go there. So we're getting ready to go to Kevin Hart, y'all. If you have not done so, first of all, thank you for tuning in. And go ahead and share the video for us. This is a really good conversation. We're so excited to be with you guys on a Thursday. But this kind of brings up, I'm going to say something controversial about the Kevin Hart situation. So just as an update, you all know, I guess about 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago now, Kevin Hart got on Instagram and made this big apology video. Of course, everybody's like, what is going on? A few weeks ahead, there was a picture that came out that looked like Kevin Hart could have been in a car with a woman. Mm-hmm. But long story short, he gets on Instagram a week and a half later, and he's like apologizing about, to his family and disappointing people, and I made a mistake. So of course, everybody jumps on that. Turns out, apparently, he has been having an affair with, I don't know what her name is. I have heard some sound bites of her saying things. She sounded real thirsty. But she was saying a couple of things that made her think that maybe, it was more than what it was. Obviously, it was a sexual, something sexual happened, and Kevin Hart actually admitted that. But what I want to say about that is, I had to think, what is his wife thinking right now? And I also had to think
his very pregnant
wife, who's about to play. They're playing like a $400,000 baby shower right now.
And having been pregnant several times.
Who?
Me.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the worst time.
It's the worst.
For something
especially
like that.
For
Your hormones.
No, but also like yourself in your mind. Like if that
everything.
happened to me in my mind, I'd be thinking that it's because I can't wait.
Oh,
Pregnancy,
yeah.
he's not attracted to me.
Yeah.
He's like here to go out because he couldn't wait like for 3-4 more months for me to have birth, give birth and stuff. Like, because I know when I was pregnant, I was very self-conscious,
Absolutely, always natural.
I was also very sexual.
Yeah,
but self-conscious and sexual don't go together because you're just like, you want to have sex with stuff. I'm fat.
Right.
Like, it's like,
no baby.
Put it in. No, not right now. I don't know.
But yes.
But listen, though, y'all, that wasn't Kevin Hart's first time, and this is why I'm bringing this up. I feel like this is just me. If this is a pattern in his life, because it happened when he was married before. Question, audience, we want to hear from you. We're gonna get on these comments. But should she? I'm no advocate of divorce, but is it fair to both of them to stay in the situation, knowing that this is who this man is? Mm-hmm. Or let me ask you this, because remember in the Girls Trip movie, which is our main conversation tonight, she knew that her husband was cheating on her, right? So because when her friends got all together, they're like, "We're gonna tell her," they're all upset. She already knew. So as spectators, we have to ask ourselves, Kevin Hart's wife might already knew.
But this is the thing, the whole world didn't know.
Yeah.
And Ryan, that was her biggest thing too. Like, if you're cheating on me, don't embarrass me while you're cheating on me. That's a conversation that you and I agreed to. But then he went a step further, got sloppy with it. The whole world knows. Now it's ego.
But also, you have to understand, have you ever heard the saying, you lose them how you get them? Did you guys know that he actually cheated on Kori with her? He was dealing with her, so it's kind of like
you can't
really be upset about what. Can you see the comments?
That's
it. But I'm not sure. But you literally lose them how you know what I'm saying? Like, so he cheated on his ex-wife. Like, you might be more. You might think you're more beautiful. You might be more exotical. I don't say exotical. You might be more. Like, in her mind, she's like, I'm better than his wife. But are you better than his wife? Because something new is gonna walk by him, whether she had a flat butt or not. Walk by him and he's gonna be like, "Ooh, like that's new. It's different. It's not what I have every day." And that's why they just want something new. They want that.
And it has nothing to do with looks. It has everything to do with the inner stuff that you're trying to mask and you're trying to run away from instead of get healed.
Yeah.
And so while you're running from those things, you're diving into your own medicine, self-medicating, and everybody around you gets hurt in the process of you self-medicating with whatever drug of choice you have.
Yeah, he was feeding his ego. I think when you get to a certain stage in your career, when you have women just throwing themselves at you, it's easy. Like, you have to understand, like, if you look at Kevin Hart, like, he used to say, like, when I was younger, I didn't have women. Women weren't throwing themselves at me. Now that he's just this guy that everybody's like, oh, Kevin Hart, all this. The women don't see Kevin Hart. They see money. Right. They see the fact that he's not afraid of commitment, and they see opportunity. So she saw her name in the limelight. She saw maybe she can get money, and she saw, like, all right, like, she really saw the money in the light. Like, she didn't, so.
And moving on to Usher, I don't know if you all, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at y'all's comments. But as far as Usher, I don't know if you all have heard about this, but there have been several people coming out, saying that Usher is not being integral with protecting himself while having sexual encounters. And that brings up a conversation that I think needs to be had. So there's a new challenge out called For the D, right?
For the D.
And so
Do it for the D.
I saw somebody post about it yesterday, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
I learned
And
that.
of course, you check the hashtag. That's all you gotta do. Check the hashtag, right? And you see like all these videos. Who did one? Sanaa Lathan.
I did one.
You did one, which we haven't seen yet. By the way,
I do that afterwards.
She'll do it live.
Private
I'm just
session.
kidding.
Private. But and this is for the audience too that's watching. When are we gonna have we have all these abstinence or value yourself movements for women, but where are the movements for men? Because at this point, I think that, I don't know that men are realizing that you're putting yourself in a situation nowadays to be set up. We had two prime examples of two prominent black men, Usher and Kevin Hart, in the last 2 weeks. And all of them want the money. They want the money. So when are men going to start realizing, or will they ever, I don't know if it's in their nature, I don't know, realizing how valuable their D is?
And we had this conversation earlier. The fathers being absent in a lot of homes have a big impact on their self-worth, self-esteem, and these guys are out here trying to prove points and prove themselves and gain their self-esteem through sex. I mean, I have a daughter, and I have to be so vigilant about my teenage daughter because these boys are really out of control. The things they say at that age, at her age, is really crazy. And I also think that I was talking to a friend, and he was just explaining how there aren't a lot of mentors for males. We love to get in the community and talk to the younger women, but there aren't a lot of guys out there doing it. And I think that the absence of that male figure is pivotal. It's playing a crucial role right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that just to piggyback on that, definitely men, their masculinity is pretty much like confirmed when they have sex, because that's what media shows them. Like, oh, how many girls did you get? How many are still on your phone? How many are begging? So it's like we might think that it's all about women and self-esteem, but it's tied right directly to their own self-esteem, and they're kind of playing themselves, thinking that, oh, I'm playing all these women. But it's like, really? So if all the women weren't here, then who would you be? Or where would you be? What's left?
Men are more emotional than us. Like, believe it or not, they're a lot more, we're smarter. Men are actually more emotional than women. So
they're just allowed to express it in different ways.
Yes.
But allowed to cut somebody out. Oh, you get to get angry and aggressive. Oh, that's not a woman thing to do. So it's like men are allowed to do that.
Men are just angry.
Right. Like, oh,
we're
they're
crazy.
Angry. They're just
We're crazy.
They're just throwing chairs on the sideline of the basketball court.
If a guy comes to you and is like, I understand why you have all these guys, you're like, oh, he's sad. But if you come to him, he'll be like, yo, why are you tripping? You crazy? Like, it's
a lot of double standards going on. But I really hope and pray really that somehow like mentors begin to just rise up.
But I want to talk about this For the D thing a little bit more.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Because we're talking about protecting the P, but women, we have got to do better. Oh my gosh, our standards have come a long way down.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and speaking from personal experience, I think that when you're not taught, I think when you experience certain things in your younger age, you grow up and think that is love. And a lot of women crave love. And it's the same thing with that absent father. Thankfully, there's a lot of women out here who are combating that by mentoring these younger girls. Yeah. But some women grow up without their dad. Yeah. And then they are looking for that affection, that affirmation.
Or you have homes, I mean, I agree with that, but then also you have homes where you have the father and you still have girls, yeah, he's there, but he's absent. Like, it's not about having father, it's about having that emotional connection to a man. Yeah. Like, you can have an uncle that's in your life and he's emotional, he teaches you that you're good. Like, my father bought me my first pair of Victoria's Secret underwear. He bought me my first diamond. So when a man tried to do it, I looked at him like my dad could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like just him being in my home. It was literally having that emotional connection to a man that teaches you how you should be, how you should be.
Your value.
Yeah, how a man should treat you. And I tell my husband that all the time. I'm like, you have to hug and kiss and let our daughter sit in your lap. And I make him take them on dates. Like, there's a lot of stuff I make him do, and he doesn't understand it. But in the long run, he'll understand it because they'll value a man and see how a man is supposed to treat them. Yeah. They're supposed to open your door. They're supposed to, walk on a certain side of the street if you're on the street. Like, there's certain things that you should be taught as a woman. So when you get older, you don't allow a man to play you. You don't allow a man to just treat you how he wants to treat you because he's going to put you on a pedestal because you're going to make him put you on a pedestal.
Right. But the hard thing in this is that how do you teach these fathers to do that for their daughters when they haven't come to the realization that their fathers. I know someone who has a daughter he's only seen maybe twice in her life.
It comes from that's when it comes in a woman. That's when it comes from women, whether you're with the man or not. There has to be a hard conversation that listen. You might not be with me because a lot of times a man is not with his daughter because of the relationship he has with the wife, the mom. Whether she keeps the daughter away, whether the mom just like puts it in the daughter's mind that like your father's not, he's not anything. But that's a hard conversation you have to have with the man. Like, listen, we might not be together, or but that's your daughter, that's your child. Like, like men like that don't see their daughters that much. To me, they're punks. They're cowards. Because there's nothing for a man. There's nothing just like there's nothing that can keep y'all away from your kids. There's nothing that should keep a man away from their kids. Just like we fight for our kids, a man should fight for their kids.
And I think the first step is the guy has to want to. First, he has to want it. Then it's the influence of the woman. And I think it's the influence of the woman creating that safe space. So whether you're with the guy or not, if you cuss him out every other day, he's going to be like, I'm going to shut down emotionally towards this woman and therefore her offspring. Yeah. So I feel like we as women have so much power to create this safe space of, oh, it's okay for you to cry in this situation. Because I know that's like a big thing, like, oh, men don't cry. But okay, but you want them to show love to their children. It's like, how do you do that? Yeah. And even on a larger scale, I think historically African American fathers haven't had the opportunity to show levels of emotion. And that was depicted on the movie Fences, right? Historically, that just hasn't happened. So I think that now we're in a generation where definitely like the hardship on black men, like it's still extremely tough, but we may have a space to be more influential in that space to promote that emotion and say it's okay.
To piggyback what you said about the whole, like, also you have to think, like, you're taught, a man is taught, if a boy falls down and starts to cry, what's the first thing a man says? Get up, stop crying. Exactly. I mean, because you're like, I don't want you to be a punk. But sometimes it's like you say, it's okay for a person to express that. Like, now if your son's just standing in the corner, like, all right, you might be happy. But like certain things we should allow them because we're taught, especially black men, they're taught like you cannot be emotional. If they're not taught how to be emotional, how do you teach them how to be emotional towards their daughters? Like you said, like
or towards their wives, or
exactly.
Right. I mean, I grew up with a dad in the house, but when I fell and hurt my knee, he's like, get up and put some spit on it. So, I mean, it's still interesting. It goes back to, like, you might have a dad in the house, but still that emotional connection. Like, was his dad emotional? It goes back generationally. So, eventually I learned, like, okay, this is what my dad is able to give, but in my future husband, I want to create that space because I need something to change.
And there has to be a balance between, a lot of things people don't think about is there needs to be a balance between sexual and emotional with men. Like you can be, a lot of men are sexual but they're not emotional.
Most men are sexual.
So, but women think in their mind when they're sexual, that's love. No, emotional is emotional, sexual is sexual.
I mean, I definitely thought
two different things,
Yeah. Wow. Speaking of love, Debbie and I were talking earlier about self-love, and that was one of the things that we ended up seeing at the end of Girls Trip. We saw, when everything happened and they finally decided, this relationship isn't working, and they were pitching a talk show, I think, right? They were pitching a talk show, and of course, just realizing that this isn't real, I can't go through with this, and when she gets up to give her speech, it was just like the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
Like to see her start to value. Yeah.
Because at that very same time that I went to see that movie, I was going through one of the most traumatic phases in my life. Yeah. And that speech was like it stayed in my mind for like weeks. Like, Dad, you gotta love you. You gotta love you. And it's resonating even more right now. Like
And I would say it doesn't matter if you're single or you're married. Self-love is something that it never stops.
You can't love someone else if you don't love yourself.
That's right. And you know, it's not a single woman thing. It's not something that we should categorize every person, not just women. And that's what we're talking about with men, not just valuing their deeds, but valuing their minds and their hearts and their space and just everything, you know.
And valuing their rib.
That went over my head, girl.
You better.
Just introduce a paper right now.
No, but that's deep because the rib came from the man.
Yeah.
So if they're not Debbie.
Whoa.
Right. Is this not a part of you?
That woman now, right?
Let me write it down. Hold on.
Oh, right now. They gave me a piece of blank paper and no pen, so that's cool.
Don't be putting my set on the
Right down the
my production on. But no, self-love is everything, man. And when she made that speech, but look at what she had to go through to get there. It's not an overnight thing.
She had her friends, and her real friends were there. That's how she got there. She had real friends around her.
You can't isolate.
Exactly.
That's a huge issue with Black people. They want to handle it on their own, inside themselves.
Internally.
And when you isolate, it's the most dangerous place you can go alone, and you don't have anyone to talk to. Your mind will tell you so many lies in that space.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And definitely on a spiritual note, that's the worst thing you can do when you're going through something, is to get in that dark space where no light can come in. You know what I mean? And I think we all do it, and sometimes, you know, we do it in our hearts. It's not necessarily I close my door and I cry in my bed. You know what I'm saying? I could be out with all my whoever, and I'm still closed in. I'm still introverted. I'm still holding it all in and putting on this mask. But like Kori said, friendship was just a key theme in that movie, because without her true friends, they could have abandoned her. They could have been like, girl, you stupid. You know, why you stay? You know, but they I think it was Jada Pinkett's character really kind of pressed her, like, no, like, this is not
right.
what you want.
Right. And I think that's why it's so important to have people around you that know, like, your true essence of who you are, right? So that when you're putting on this facade, it's like,
They won't let you get
they're
comfortable.
like, okay, but I know who you really are. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can do this, but I'm going to come knocking on your door because that's not who you really are. And I just feel like that's so valuable.
Yeah.
But that also comes to us. Like, are we going to be vulnerable enough to show our true selves?
Yeah.
You know?
And we're not allowed to be vulnerable.
What does it take to get to that vulnerable place, though? What is it, like, how do you get to that vulnerable place for people who may be thinking, well, yeah, I need some accountability in my life. I need some people to help me get through this season. How do you become vulnerable?
I think for me, it was the understanding that I will not have transformational change until I am vulnerable. So I think we have to be in a space where we have to be in a space where our darkness is so dark that it's like I have no other choice but to let someone in. And then when we do that and we have those situations over and over again, it's like now I'm at the point where, well, sometimes, because Debbie calls it something, she's like, what are you? I was like, I'm in my I'm in my show. I don't feel like talking. The world is falling in on me. But I think through understanding that my transformation is not going to happen until I can reach out to friends, and I'm just like, this was going on, pray for me, do something, but that's what's going on. And just opening that up, it's like, okay, then the positive energy can then flow. And so there's no such thing as being perfect, because I think we all have those times where it's like, I know for me, it's like, oh, the whole world's crashing, or it seems as if it is. And we tend to, you know, kind of coddle and like hide. But I've had enough experiences in my past where it's like, that's not going to help me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if someone is in that space where they're like, how do I do it? I feel like one just must have the courage and understand that, like, God loves you, so there is help on the other side.
And do something different. Einstein said to do the same thing, expecting different results is insanity. So, and you said the whole world crashing. Can we segue? The whole world crashing. I feel like, I wouldn't say the whole world, but the whole United States.
Oh my, yeah.
Because have you guys Donald Trump's comments about these SOBs, firing them from the NFL if they disrespect the flag? Now, yesterday, he said that the owners are afraid of the players. But
and they should be. They give you all the money.
The issue I have
have this whole what Donald Trump said is, if you think about it, it started off with Colin Kaepernick and him kneeling for it, not because of the flag or because of the injustice and the shootings and the police brutality. But now it seems like they're changing the way we are actually protesting. Before it was like, get down on one knee. Now it's like we're standing, holding arms, but you're still standing, but you're not kneeling. So it's like they're controlling. It's almost like they're actually controlling the way we protest. That's the issue I have with it. And like somebody actually pointed out, I'm a Redskins fan. We have Dream Seat. Like we are. See, I'm a Redskins. Like hell to the Redskins. But if you think about it, you have the Redskins stand there. Anyway, you have the Redskins standing there, and they're wearing a uniform that is just basically showboating a group of indigenous people that were here first, and it's calling them a racist name. But they're standing there like they're. It's like are you really for the movement? Are you really here for the injustice and stuff? So that's why it's like I just get tired of the whole. Even with the a lot of the owners of the team, they're dealing with the players, but they gave Donald Trump millions of dollars. So it's like I don't know. I think they do it for show to make America think that we're all like, especially African American, we're like, yes, they're all for the cause, but like they're standing. Or they're not coming out of the locker room. This owner's not letting them come out of the locker room during the American, during the national anthem. So you can't see them not kneeling or not standing. Like that's, I don't know. It's just
we're in a tough space, I think, in the United States, and I think the biggest thing that kind of concerns me is that we're just so divided. A nation that's divided cannot stand. What's happening overseas, what people are planning. You know what I mean? That's a whole different topic. And look at us, we're so vulnerable because we're divided.
Right. And I feel like we've always been divided. And it's just coming to the light. It's coming to the light, and which is good because now, because it's more overt, we have the option to do more.
That's true.
But what is that more? I think that's where our challenge is. Like, what is that?
How do you guys feel about what Jamel Hill said on ESPN that Trump is a white supremacist, and ESPN he called for her to be fired from ESPN. And over this 2 weeks ago. Whole taking a knee thing.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, like, do you guys feel like ESPN should have done something about it?
But she apologized, right? But not for her comment, right? But more, she apologized that she said it
the network. Yeah, because she's on TV.
I like that she didn't take it back. She's like, I still have to say it, but I'm not representing the network. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
It's going to take, I was going to say, it's going to take more people like that with more courage to really start a serious movement. And here is one thing that I said even back when Trayvon Martin and all those other cases happened. We don't have a leader.
But we also don't know our power. Like African Americans do not know our power. We don't know our power.
It is by design. But we don't have a current leader. Where is the Martin Luther King of this generation? Where is the Malcolm X? Where is the person who's going to rise up and lead if there is going to be a real movement? Who is that person?
Colin Kaepernick.
We need
She said Colin
Kaepernick. We need a visionary because people perish.
That's what I'm saying. We need a vision. We don't have a vision.
I feel like people say that all the time as an excuse, though, and I'm like,
so give us some options.
So I feel like everyone knows what they can do in their small or large sphere of influence. True. Because if we keep waiting for someone to come and no one comes, am I still gonna call an invisible person? No. We still, like, I went to South Africa in January, and we had this taxi driver, and he was like, there the climate is like 1970s U.S. where they're like thanking the white people. Some, not speaking for all South Africans, but some of them are thanking the white people for coming in because they don't believe that they could have gotten to where they are if there weren't white people. However, this black man, he was, he didn't quite believe that. But he said, we're still waiting on our Nelson Mandela. We don't have a Nelson Mandela, so we can't move forward. And so some of the women and men that I was with in South Africa, they're like, what? You don't need a Nelson Mandela. They're like, we're trying to, so the guy from South Africa, he said, I'm trying to get where the Americans are getting, like where black Americans are getting. And basically, so they're still waiting. So I don't think that we should have to wait. It's like, what are we going to do specifically? What can we do? I think one, having conversations like this, but I mean, mentor groups, education, getting in the schools, so, and your teacher. So you have
we're doing it.
Right? So we are doing it.
We are doing it. That's a great point. I definitely think that that's something to highlight. Absolutely. We all have to start where we are in our own communities, in our own homes. raising 2 black boys. I mean, every day we're thinking about how to mold them, how to shape them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're
Someone
exactly
told me today, it's really ironic that you said that. Someone told me today, people are not always going to be able to make the change or cause the change, but you can just be yourself, and that will make an impact.
Like Mahatma Gandhi said, he said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you want to see that change, it starts, like you said, like Michael Jackson said, it starts with you.
Kori.
He did say it.
Y'all look at me like I'm stupid.
Oh man, yeah, but good conversation, y'all. I think that. Oh yeah, we do have some comments. Somebody said, quoted Tiffani, "You cannot have transformational change without being open or vulnerable." And someone else said, "Irony all over the place." I guess it was talking about the Redskins uniforms, and yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
And I was thinking about, as that whole thing happened with the NFL, all of this is going on. Our president isn't paying attention to the fact that over in Puerto Rico, people are dying in hospitals because there's no electricity. There is like massive destruction over there. No food, no running water.
No, he paid attention to it. Remember he said that Puerto Rico was already... No, he's paying attention. He said Puerto Rico was already basically like he basically described it as a third world country, and said that their banks were already owing like all these billions of dollars. So in everything he said, basically he said Puerto Rico needs help, but they owe people money, so they're kind of like, good luck, that type of situation. And he stopped the National Guard. He stopped them from taking more like resources over there. We actually sent like, my police department actually sent like all these officers over to actually take food and help out and send aid and stuff, because our president won't even help them.
Yeah. Somebody just said that they don't think that he realizes that they're Americans.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And I hate to say it, but did he know that?
He didn't. I'm telling you, he could not have known that. Because listen, when he said it, everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked when he said he was going to visit Puerto Rico. Why were they shocked? Because he didn't even know he was supposed to go over there. It was like a last minute, like,
I heard when they asked him how many states are in the United States. I think he said 13 colonies.
No, he did not.
I'm just saying.
Is that a direct
No, but we've had several hurricanes come back to back to back.
Yeah.
And that's, FEMA can't handle all that.
Right.
And as the president, there has to be some type of precedence for him to step up. And he was so focused on the NFL that he's missing the whole thing, that the world, like, people are suffering, hurting. I'm worried about something trivial.
Right.
What's about the first place that got hit, Barcoda or something, and they're like totally demolished, and you haven't heard after you heard about it when it first happened, CNN was over there. Now you have not heard one thing about it. And they're United States territory. They're actually United States territory.
And here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
I went and looked at all the hurricanes, Irma,
Maria,
Harvey. And I saw all of the numbers for those. But when you look up Hurricane Maria, you don't see many numbers. It's like, what's going on? Why can't I find the stats on this?
Wow.
And I just think it's really funny how it's panning out.
Yeah, and this is, we have to put some of that blame on the media, because the media is going to go after the story that's the hottest.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if Trump is tweeting about NFL players, that's gonna,
where's his focus?
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Trump. I remember when it first hit Puerto Rico. I think they were covering the hurricane, and then they like panned over to like John McCain, who had just got out of the hospital after having cancer. I'm just like, how do you? He's healed. He's fine. Like, why do we need to see him in the middle of this hurricane trying to see what's going on? Like, literally, like they stopped coverage of the hurricane and went to the hospital where he was being released. Like, it's just.
What I think is nice is that despite our president being inadequate in this case, there are celebrities like Pitbull sent his private helicopter over there.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, people are really reaching out when our leader, the face of our country, is MIA. I don't know what he's doing right now.
But that goes back to what Tiffani said, which, again, is so powerful. people are using what they have.
Yeah.
Like we can't wait on Donald Trump to do what? What is he going to do?
Yeah, my expectations are kind of.
Yeah, I don't
like,
expect it from her. I don't
Oh
expect it from her. I don't.
Yeah, I'm tired of being
the disappointment.
news story. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
But President Trump keeps his own tweets. Like.
right.
But I have a question, and I guess we can use the hurricanes as a, I don't know, point of reference, but how do you feel these natural disasters, these deaths, and all this is affecting people's, how they're living life and how they're enjoying each other and how they're connecting? Do you think it's making a difference?
You mean like the genuine connection that like we value each other more?
Yes. And life in general.
I think so, but also it's kind of like a survival of the fittest, especially over there, because one of the ladies was saying, she was like, it's gone to the point now, like, did you hear about the one gas station they have over there? Where instead of you would think that, like, all right, they have one gas station that's actually getting, a flow of gas coming in every day or whatever. They have, like, a long line, and instead of them, like, all right, let me take a half a tank, they were saying how people were fighting, people were taking a whole tank of gas, or instead of taking a quarter tank, and then they also had this group of, like, a gangster, like, some gang or whatever, they took 2 of the pumps. So you would think that times like this it would bring people together, but no, it's like survival of the fittest. It's like, for us, we're like, oh, we're all Americans, kumbaya, because look where we're sitting with a glass, with a camera in our face, and you have people that are literally over there dying because of dialysis, cancer, chemo, they need all these things and they're dying. Their kids need, their insulin, they can't get it because of refrigeration. So like, if you want it to be like, you would think it would be like that, bring everybody together and stuff, but it really doesn't, because you have to survive.
Yeah, and I think, anytime you have scarcity of resources, like people, they're pulling for each other. And I think also it is somewhat removed as well. Like if it's not, I feel like unfortunately, if it's not always happening in our backyard, it's like something that you see on TV and we can become desensitized to it, which is really tough.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like, oh, okay, gotta go to work. And that's really tough for me. It's not, like, and I'm not excluded from that, but it's kind of like what like it's wrong. But when you get into the groove of your day, you almost forget or feel like we can't do anything about it.
Because in your mind,
anything
in your mind, you're not.
If
in your mind, you're like, well, I'm not really affected by it. I mean, you don't say that to yourself, but that's honestly what it is. You're not affected by it, therefore, or one of your loved ones is not affected by it, therefore, you're not going to get affected. Like, it's not. It's not going to be in the forefront of your mind.
But you know something? I think it takes that first drop in the bucket to fill the bucket. So we have to kind of think in the sense of, even our little small efforts can make a difference for somebody.
Definitely.
Even if it's tiny.
Yeah.
Did you hear about in Texas how they were, some of the FEMA workers, instead of them like handing out water, they were selling the water?
Oh, no.
They got in trouble, they were actually like, they're supposed to be handing, like, that's like me going to Puerto Rico, and I have water and I'm supposed to be giving them, instead of them actually handing out water, they were like charging like $10 for this, $10, like, and they were putting the money in their pocket. Because FEMA, like, people can volunteer to go
they don't know your
for disaster relief. So they're like, oh, we just need people. So people going over there like, all right. So next thing they know, they're like, oh, they bring me this water. Like, I can come up. You have some people that don't know how to help without trying to have it come up, or don't know how to do it with just an open heart.
So sad. Yeah, that's sad. Well, we had talked about quite a bit. Just to recap, a lot of our conversation tonight was centered around the movie Girls Trip. We were going to do this segment earlier, but our girl Debbie was out in California around the time that we were trying to do it. So she went out to California. She's an actress. I almost said aspiring, but she's not aspiring.
She's in there, y'all.
In fact, at work today, when I was in the lunchroom, I saw her on TV on the commercial.
Yes.
I was like, that's my bestie.
I know.
That's one of my best friends.
Like, look at her. That's my friend.
That's my friend. So we postponed it, and so tonight, we just picked this Thursday, and we wanted to come together and have some girl talk, and I'm hoping and praying that we can do this again, because it's really refreshing just to have some good conversation. And we pray really that something that we said tonight, inspired you. Again, as a recap, we talked about self-love and how friendship kind of was a major theme in the movie Girls Trip, and how Tiffani had it, even though she was crazy. She kind of represented a lot of us, or maybe that girl that's inside of us that doesn't really come out as often as we would like, who's just kind of candid and says whatever. But it was a phenomenal movie. We definitely want to shout it out for all the different accolades and the stats and all the millions of dollars that they made, and it's just great when we support, you know, our movies, because we don't really get a lot of good movies, y'all.
And don't watch it in the fire, still watch it in the movie theater.
Yes.
Spend your money
Say
to
that for
support.
Actors have to live, you know, have to make a living.
You better speak up, Jenna. You better speak up.
I know, you put money in her pocket.
Right.
And then, did y'all want to recap? Somebody want to recap the Kevin Hart Usher situation?
Just protect your pee, guys.
Protect your
it's just
pee.
as important.
And know your values.
Yes, it's just as important as for women. Like this is your. If you have this, my girlfriend told me this a while ago. If you have a bowl full of gems, and every person you sleep with, you're giving a gem away. When you get to your spouse, you might have an empty bowl, and that's not fair to them. Yeah. So treat it like a treasure, and don't give it to everybody.
Listen,
and if you do give it to everybody, you're not a hoe.
You
just
are a hoe.
wrap up. We just said this. He's not a hoe.
If you give it to everybody, I'm
just wrap up.
gonna
don't give it to
everybody.
Conversation.
And don't put your identity in your sexuality. Know that you're more
True.
than
You're
your
more
body.
than that.
So yes, you
Value
can be
yourself.
sexual, amazing, beautiful, love.
Oh God, I cannot do. And then of course we talked about all the disasters that are happening naturally, and all the natural disasters that have occurred. I just want to say that I hope y'all get out and vote. First of all, who are y'all raising up? Because right now we need to have a candidate.
We
getting
do.
ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is that person? Somebody needs
Who's
to come
that
out
person?
with that information.
Because I'm voting for you.
Because I'm not voting
Because
for
we
Kanye.
need to make a change.
Kanye won't be
God.
president.
Did y'all know that Kim Kardashian they're having a third child?
Yes,
Through
sir.
Sarah.
You know Kylie Jenner.
And Kylie's
the girl. But
they said we gonna keep this reality show
Travis.
going.
Right.
I know. This is
We
fine.
gonna play it. Y'all will be pregnant.
Guys, I'm pregnant by
What she said?
Yeah, her.
You're pregnant by a shit.
I'm like, wait, it wouldn't be impossible. You see how he gets around.
Yeah, no, we did talk about that, but we want Usher to protect his D. And I do want to say something very refreshing as we close out the show. I want to say, first of all, if you haven't done so, make sure you like the All Things Women Talk Show page on Facebook and All Things Women TV on Instagram. Make sure you follow these lovely ladies on Instagram. Y'all give me Instagram names real quick. I don't want to forget to do that.
Deborah J Music.
Kori Kakes. KORIKAKES.
K.
Oh, God.
Life by Expression, LIFE_BY, Expression with no E. You'll find it. Like an X, yeah. Expression,
yeah.
so no E.
Oh, yeah, that was
by
Expression.
Expression. Or my website, that's fine too.
And please get her book.
Yes, get her book. And get her book too.
You get her book.
Yes, Adore While I Wait. And
buy my
Adore
juices.
And by
And buy her juices.
And buy my music.
And buy her music. And buy her music. And buy me ballin'. We ain't ballin' yet.
But we
gonna
gonna
be
be
ballin'.
ballin'. And we need you to help us ball. So you can be balling. And we be balling together.
But listen, real quick, I do want to say this, y'all. I teach 8th grade girls, and I asked them today if they knew about the, is it Do It For The D?
For
Just For The D challenge.
Blank.
And guess what? They didn't know about it. They didn't know
Oh,
about it.
good.
I was very concerned. They didn't
But
know
they
about
might know
it.
about
Of
it
course,
next
once
week.
I asked them, they knew about the latest challenge they got on.
And they found
Immediately
it.
and found the
It's
hashtag.
kind of like this. I'll chill with Bill Cosby for the D. I'll even let him make me pour a cocktail for the D. It's like that type of like you say stuff like that. Like
Yeah, I'm working on one. I'm gonna have my bars right because I really want that people need to value their D. You know, these men out here.
They think it's a joke. Their spirits, they just,
You can't
And like we said, it starts. Like you said, just to recap, it starts with men raising strong men and women raising strong women. So,
Kori, you know what?
girl, that was powerful. You know what I mean? We can close it.
Drop the mic.
I wrote that down on my paper.
Seriously, y'all, love yourselves, follow your dreams, do what you got to do, man, and enjoy your life. This has been All Things Women Talk Show. We're just here for some hot topics. We got some hotties on here, and we've just been talking about some amazing stuff. So we hope that you all were inspired, seriously, and that you're encouraged to continue to discover your purpose, whatever it may be, to pursue your dreams and to live your destiny. We love you guys.
Love you.
And we're going to get a theme song, y'all, so we can, like, dance off. Like,
we are living